Guess who?
Are we clear?
What's up, Improvement Warrior? Jason Yun, back with you again. Hope you're having a fabulous day. Welcome to the Improvement Warrior podcast, episode number 31. This one is going over sunglasses part 1. It is the first part of a series that I am calling Unknown Death Causers. So it'll be at least 4 parts, and like I said, this is just part 1 of sunglasses. So I think I went into 4 or 5 reasons why sunglasses are really, really bad for your health. And it's a good one. It's also the webinar at Improvement Warrior University. So you can go to improvementwarriorfitness.com/IWUFB. But otherwise, what's happening in my life? I recently went to the dentist and then walked out of the dentist because they tried to force me to, or they wanted me to get x-rays. So it's been since 2018 that I haven't had x-rays with them. And I told them I was not going to have the x-rays. The last time I went, I basically just filled out a waiver. I asked them for the waiver again, and they said they can't do it and all this BS and just crap. And then they brought the dentist in. So it was the first time I was actually meeting this dentist, and she went into a blah 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 blah. She said our x-ray machine is low radiation, and then she said you actually get more radiation from being in the sun for 2 hours. It was like, okay. Now I can go into lecture mode and just be a complete dick to this person, but I just basically rolled my eyes. And because if she thinks that and said that, there's no way I was going to penetrate that skull. So looking for a new dentist. I posted on the mitochondrial group, and they basically said, find a new dentist, because they should offer you a waiver, but I understand dentists are just like any other doctor. They're trying to get you to do the things that are going to cost the most money for your insurance, and their $1 million x-ray machine is something that costs extra money. So looking for a new dentist. If you know one in the Columbus, Ohio, New Albany, Ohio area, please let me know. But otherwise, I'm still reading the Circadian Code. About 10 more pages left. And then I got a new book that's basically going over the prison system of schools. So looking forward to getting into that. But Circadian Code, it's a good book, but there's some things in there that I do not recommend or do not agree with. But I'll go over it in a book review here in the future. But I also lost some podcast show notes, so I had a dedicated server, and then I canceled that server, but before I canceled it, I did not get the backup. So I lost the last podcast episode is podcast 18, My Healthy Habits. So I lost everything from I was fired for the blue blockers, episode 19, up to episode 29. But I'll get them back up eventually. So, sucks. Lost a lot of things, and it's causing me to do a lot of extra crap on technology and stuff. But we got a new affiliate as well. It's called Tap Zap from Solar Powered. Rusty, a fellow mitochondriac. Unfortunately, it doesn't work for Android, which I have, and it works for iPhone. But it's basically you just tap a button on it. It's just an app. You just tap a button. It takes off the EMF, the Bluetooth, and all that stuff. Because apparently on Apple, if you push the Bluetooth off, it doesn't really turn it off completely. So it's just stupid, and they're making the phones stupid. And I had to get a new phone over spring break, so apparently the new phones, they don't have the audio jack anymore. So they're trying to get people to go into the AirPod mode and the wireless and all that stuff. But I still was able to connect the jack. You just got to buy a connector and all that stuff. But that's what they're doing. EMF, trying to destroy us, trying to control us. But otherwise, check out Tabs app. It's improvementwarriorfitness.com/solar powered. Okay? But again, always looking for the 5-star reviews so we can get this podcast out there and people can listen and they can change their minds and raise their dopamines and build that solar callus and become optimal and thrive. Okay? So just go to your favorite podcast app and rate it 5 stars and leave a review. I would appreciate that very, very much. But otherwise, if you are not subscribed to Improvement Warrior Podcast, make sure you subscribe. Otherwise, let's get into the podcast, going over sunglasses and why they suck for your health. Hey, what's up? Improvement Warrior, Jason Yun, back with you again. Welcome to the Improvement Warrior University webinar of the week, and it is also the podcast. It's Improvement Warrior Podcast, episode number 31. Today, I am going to be talking about sunglasses, and this will be a series of podcasts and webinars that I do, going over basically unknown death factors. So things that slowly kill us that we do not know. But I am trying to bring it to the forefront. So I'm Jason Yun. I am the OG Improvement Warrior and Mitochondriac, and I'll be hosting the webinar podcast tonight and also the Q&A. There will be an open Q&A at the end, and I'll take you through a health journey, a real health journey. So I was lied to, as most people were and are, about what it takes to get healthy and be healthy. And it's why I never stop searching for the real truth, and I always take action on what I learn and either implement, discard, or save for later. If you are watching the replay or listening to the podcast, don't forget to invite your friends and family into my group so they can catch all the past and future webinars. If you do need additional help or coaching, reach out to me and I will find what the best fit for you is based on your goals and your starting point. And so with that, let me pull up my unknown death causers. Sunglasses is the first one. So, where did my Zoom go? Okay. All right. So, sunglasses. Before we get into that, let me start off by saying nobody has a weight problem. Nobody. What they have, or what you have if you have a weight problem, is a hormone problem, which ultimately ties to and can be a synonym for a circadian rhythm malfunction. And if you have that, it basically means you have sucky mitochondria. And the good thing is mitochondria can be fixed. And that can be equated to every single disease, okay? Either hormone problem or circadian rhythm malfunction. So you've got autoimmunity, you've got heart disease, cancer, diabetes, stroke, Alzheimer's, MS, ADHD, okay? And the list goes on and on. Every single one will have a different amount of level of mitochondrial issues and a circadian rhythm malfunction. Obviously, with any disease, there will also be other causes. And the environment is the biggest thing. Now, if you've listened to webinars before, watched videos, listened to my podcast before, you have definitely heard me talk about environment before. And it will certainly be key in these upcoming unknown death podcasts. Because it is absolutely crucial to get your environment correct. So you could have 2 people or 3 people or 4 people living in the same house in different rooms, okay, and they can be in completely different environments. Okay, some of those environments will link together, but some will be very different based on a certain person's habits. Okay, so your environment is important for our epigenetics. What? So everyone knows about genetics, and everybody knows about our DNA. Okay, that is our nuclear genome. But what most people do not know is that we have a second genome, and it is a mitochondrial genome, and it is mtDNA for short. The mitochondrial genome has 37 genes that it controls, and that's it, versus the thousands that the nuclear genome controls. So there's 37 genes, but 13 of those genes, so almost 1/3 of them, are in charge of energy production and of the electron chain transport proteins inside of our mitochondria. Okay, so your respiratory proteins inside your mitochondria. So as your respiratory proteins start to stretch out, you start to get sickness, and eventually you get full-blown diseases if it is not corrected ASAP. Okay, so the distance between your respiratory proteins is known as heteroplasmy. And the higher your percentage of heteroplasmy gets, the worse the disease or diseases get for you. And that's when a heart attack can take you out, or a stroke can take you out. Okay, that's why being sick and staying sick is never a good idea. The environment that you put yourself in is going to determine if you shrink or grow your heteroplasmy. And that's the good thing, is we can actually stop the progression of the heteroplasmy, and we can actually start to reverse it, okay, depending on where you are in your life and in your disease progression. Okay, so obviously we cannot keep the heteroplasmy small forever. Nobody can do that in this modern day microwave world. So we can't live forever. So with that said, one of the worst environments that you can put yourself in is outside with sunglasses. Okay? So being outside without sunglasses is a very different environment. So imagine two people outside in the middle of summer. One has sunglasses and one does not have sunglasses. So that is an environment. One is good, one is bad. Now, sunglasses. We're going to get into the reasons why they suck. So I think I have 5 or 6 reasons why they suck. And there is more. This is going to just be part 1 of the sunglasses episode. So, reason number 1, sunglasses suck, is circadian rhythm destruction. Okay? So, circadian rhythm destruction. And hold on, I'm going to be taking notes here of everything that I mentioned for the podcast notes and the webinar notes. So, circadian biology is the number 1 pillar on my 14 Pillars of Health webinar. Okay, you can check that out at improvementwarriorfitness.com/14, or it's in the Improvement Warrior University group under circadian, or under the 14 or the Pillars of Health guide. Okay, but basically in a nutshell, we run on a 24-hour clock. Okay, for some processes it's not exactly 24 hours, but basically every 24 hours we have new processes, or the processes start over, and the processes should be run just like a clock. Okay, so midnight always happens at midnight. It's not 1 a.m. or 1 p.m. It happens at midnight. All the processes inside of us run off of those clocks. Okay, and your master timepiece is our SCN, which sits right behind our retina. And most people don't know that the retina is part of the brain, not the eye. Okay, certain things happen when it is light outside, and certain things happen when it is dark outside. So yin and yang, darkness is just as important as light. Okay? So I always stress the most important thing for any living creature with a mitochondria, okay, and especially for a mammal, and we are mammals, okay, is seeing the sunrise with naked eyes. Okay, so if you're watching the video, you obviously see that I have glasses on. These are blue blocking glasses. Okay, so they block the blue light. The sun is down. That is the most important time to block blue light, and that will be a future episode of Unknown Death Causers as well. Now, naked eyes. What does that mean? That means no sunglasses, no contacts, or eyeglasses. So eyeglasses should be pulled down when you are outside viewing that sunrise. The most important thing for our health. Contacts, they should be a thing of the past if you truly want to be healthy. The cornea gets its oxygen from the air. Okay? So do you think putting a suction cup over your cornea is a wise decision? It is not. Okay? It makes it hypoxic or pseudo-hypoxic, basically meaning it cannot breathe properly. Okay? And over time, that affects, obviously, the eye, which is the most, I always say it's the most important thing for health. It's the most important organ, muscle, whatever you want to call it, but it's the most important thing for health. And it's also the most important thing for disease, because if you have eye problems and your eye problems get worse over time, then that's going to lead down to the rest of the body. So the eye is basically the gateway into the body to talk to the body, basically. So your SCN, SCN stands for suprachiasmatic nucleus, and also your skin. Your skin is basically trillions and trillions of little eyes and little mouths. They are seeing and feeling the color temperature of the sun. So if you put sunglasses on, that signal will be destroyed. Okay? So the SCN, it talks to all the other clocks to basically tell it what it is sensing from the environment. Sunglasses are going to block that communication with our skin and our eye. So remember, the skin is the largest organ. Sunglasses also tell our brain that it is dark outside when it is sunny. So again, light and dark play vital roles in our circadian biology and in our health. And if we block natural light during the day and then expose ourselves at night to artificial light, that is disastrous to our health. Basically, we are worshiping an alien sun, and we're blocking the God's sun or nature's sun. Okay? Now, I will talk about way more about artificial blue light, especially at night when we go into unknown death causers, blue light. Okay. All right. So that's reason number one, circadian rhythm destruction. And I also have a webinar where I've done 3 circadian biology webinars. And you can watch the first part in the group. And so Improvement Warrior University, Circadian Biology 1 basically just gives you a background of circadian biology and what happens and everything with it.
Are we clear? Lock
Blocking blue light is one of the most critical things we need to do in our modern world if you want to either remain healthy, reverse a disease, or become the optimal version of yourself. There are a lot of companies out there that are now making it more stylish than ever to join the ranks of biohackers across the world. Oh, and blue blockers are absolutely essential for keeping your dopamine levels up and exiting the matrix. I have personally been using Midwestern Light Therapy as my go-to errand and grocery store, as well as my after sunrise glasses. Check them out, as well as the others I have used and recommend at improvementwarriorfitness.com/blueblockers. For Midwestern Light Therapy, use code IMPROVEMENTWARRIOR10 for 10% off, and you can also pick out blue light-free light bulbs as well as red light therapy devices. Remember, your light environment is more important for your health than the food you eat or the exercise that you do.
Are we clear?
So reason number 2 is hormones. And all these tie intimately in together. So hormones. Light through the eyes at sunrise basically tells our suprachiasmatic nucleus to tell or talk to our anterior pituitary gland to turn on the morning hormone factory. So those are going to be cortisol, testosterone, estrogen, pregnenolone, progesterone, DHEA, and basically all the other sex steroid hormones. Okay, when this is blocked, okay, either due to sunglasses, or you're driving in a car without the windows open, or you're just completely ignoring the sunrise, it will send the wrong signals, are going to be sent through the eye, and things begin the breakdown process. Okay? So again, most important thing for a human is seeing the sunrise. Okay? Before September 2018, I probably never ever on purpose saw the sunrise. Okay, if I did, it was because I was up and driving work or something, but I probably had the windows up. So yeah, so it was bad. All right, but the breakdown process, what's that include? So you're going to lose energy. That is going to be typically the first thing that you will notice. So then you're going to need coffee, you're going to need caffeine, or you're going to need simple processed carbohydrates to get your day going, and you're going to still need those throughout the day, okay? Because if you constantly are wearing sunglasses, you're going to block the signals from the sun. And the sun basically gives you information, and it also gives you energy, okay? But think of the sunrise as nature's cup of joe. It's nature's coffee. All right, so blue light from the sun, okay, is our actual timekeeper. And when it is in the sun, when blue light's always in the sun, it's always balanced by red frequencies and all the other frequencies, as opposed to fake light, which most people are being exposed to at sunrise instead of the natural sun. Okay, so if the first thing that you wake up to and the first thing you see is your blue lit phone, okay, that's going to send the signal to send the wrong hormones to you. Okay, many people talk about cortisol being the stress hormone. Oh, it's bad. It causes stress hormone, or it causes you to have stress and all this stuff. Okay, cortisol is not bad. Okay, cortisol is bad when it gets out of whack, just like every single other hormone. Okay, if insulin gets out of whack, that's bad. But insulin is there for a specific purpose. Okay, so remember when I started this, I said nobody has a weight problem. They have a hormone problem or a circadian rhythm problem, which controls the hormones. All right. Reason number 3 for sunglasses being really bad is, and this is probably the biggest issue is blocking of UV light. So UV light is ultraviolet light. So remember, our master clock is the SCN, the suprachiasmatic nucleus, which sits right behind the retina. Our largest organ is our skin, which also holds many different circadian clocks in it. And all these clocks, they want to talk to each other. Okay, sunglasses and contacts and eyeglasses that are kept over the eye when you're outside. And while I'm at it, when the windows are closed, okay, this will block the communication. Okay, you will not receive the proper signal. Okay, so we first make vitamin D in our skin from UVB light. Okay, we can't do it properly or as well or make as much if the eyes are blocked. Okay, and also if cholesterol is blocked by statins. Okay, so sulfated cholesterol, well, first sulfate in the body converts into cholesterol, and then that cholesterol converts into sulfated cholesterol, and then that sulfated cholesterol goes on to make sulfated vitamin D. Okay, but if the eyes are blocked or you never go outside, that conversion cannot happen. And also if you're on a statin drug, which you should not be. Okay, I did a 4-part webinar series in the Improvement Warrior University group going over cholesterol and why it is a vital substance and why we've basically been lied to about it for since the mid 80s. Okay, statins are one of the things that has kept big pharma in business. It's a $30+ billion a year industry. Okay, yeah, so just it's not healthy. One thing I will say before moving on, because cholesterol is one of my big projects or passions, and teaching people about the truth. I mean, I'm very passionate about teaching people the complete truth about health, because we're lied to about basically everything. The sun and sunglasses and all that stuff that started way back in the 50s and 60s. So it's all been part of the plan. But the one thing I will say about cholesterol is if you have a cholesterol that is average to low, so that's under 200, that is the group that had the highest rates of death from heart attacks and all-cause mortality. Okay, and that is because cholesterol is one of the most protective things that we have against inflammation, and all inflammation eventually leads to disease. Okay, so check out that cholesterol webinar if you are interested in the absolute truth about cholesterol. All right, so now we make the proper amount of melanin, which is skin pigmentation. Think of it as tanning. So alpha MSH makes us tan in our body. Melanin is the most photoprotective thing that we have in our body. So it is basically a natural sunscreen, and it is everywhere. Okay, your hair has melanin in it. So that is why when your hair goes gray, it's losing its melanin. Okay, Dr. Jack Cruz just did probably the most epic podcast on melanin on the Tetragrammaton podcast with Rick Rubin, who is the music producer, and Dr. Andrew Huberman. I highly suggest listening to that. I learned more in that podcasts than I did my entire college career. Okay, so I'm on my second listening right now. There's two parts. First part I think was 4 hours. Second part was like 2.5 hours, but it is epic. It's better than any college lecture I ever had. So I'm going to go through it multiple times and take notes, and then obviously I'll bring you that information as well. But listen to it on your own, and also his talks from Nourish Vermont 2016 to 2018, which I've watched or listened to combined, all three, probably over 90 to 100 times. Okay, repetition, okay, when it's the proper repetition, is the mother of all learning, as long as you implement. Okay, if you're gonna listen to other podcasts and other things, and then just sit on your ass and do absolutely nothing, nothing's going to change. Okay. So melatonin. Melatonin is a hormone. Most people know it, but most people know it as the hormone of darkness. So most people know it as the sleep hormone. So, I'm going to take melatonin supplements to help me sleep. No, that's a bad idea. And the reason is because melatonin is made in AM UVA sunlight. So ultraviolet A sunlight. So after the sunrise comes UVA light. Okay. Now, sunglasses, contacts, glasses block this production. Now, some contacts do not block UV. I'm pretty sure all glasses do, and all sunglasses do. You would have to check with your manufacturer to see if the contacts block UV. But again, if you continue to wear the contacts, your cornea and eye is going to suffer, and eventually you're going to get bigger eye problems. Then it usually starts with myopia, which is nearsightedness. Nearsightedness is a disease. Okay, just because everybody has it doesn't mean it's not a disease and it's not a problem. Contacts only address the symptoms. They don't address the root causes. Same thing with just getting a prescription drug and continuing a prescription drug rather than fixing the problem. Okay, so they block that production. They block UV light. So what happens is your sleep suffers. So when we wake, instead of feeling refreshed and ready to go, we need coffee, we need pastries, we need simple sugars to supply the body with a dose of quick energy that doesn't last. And then that cycle just repeats and repeats until we say enough. Okay? But unfortunately, most people are never going to say enough, because we've been programmed by cancer institutes, dermatologists, ophthalmologists, okay, etc. The sun is bad, and we need to block it, especially on our eyes. Okay, so the diseases that follow myopia, you're going to have AMD, acute macular degeneration. You're going to have detached retinas, cataracts. One thing that I saw was one thing associated with sunglasses is cataracts. Okay, most people who get cataracts wear sunglasses. Okay, but the absolute truth is that our eyes are weak. Okay, so if you feel the need for sunglasses, your eyes are just weak. So I see people all the time on cloudy days or rainy days. They're still wearing sunglasses. And the more you wear them, the weaker your eyes are going to become. And hence, the weaker and older your brain becomes. Okay, because remember, right through the eye is the retina. Right past the retina is the suprachiasmatic nucleus, which is our master circadian clock. And then that takes that light information and gives it to the brain, and the brain sends it out to the rest of the body where it needs. So your eyes are either the gateway to health or they're the gateway to disease. You get to decide. So choose wisely.
Are we clear?
If you are looking for a quick and easy guide on how to get started with improving your health to optimal, then check out my free guidebook, Improvement Warrior Mitochondriac. A 17-step guidebook going over everything from the sun to melatonin to water to cold exposure to electropollution and much, much more. It can get quite confusing listening to multiple health coaches, blogs, podcasts, videos, etc., especially with where to start and where to go next. Check out the guidebook at improvementwarriorfitness.com/mitochondriac. Just mitochondria with a C at the end.
Are we clear?
So most people will not ever even question sunglasses. Okay, but that's why you are listening to this. So even if you don't believe me, and I don't want you to believe me, okay? So I don't want you to listen to me. I want you to question it, okay? Because it is the mark of a truly educated mind to take what they fundamentally do not believe, examine it, and then see where it fits in their life, okay? So like Bruce Lee said, absorb what is useful, discard what is not, and make it uniquely your own, okay? So the best thing to do is try it. Okay? Try it for 30 days. Try it for 34 days. So I have a 34-day light challenge. I also have a 32-day circadian rhythm transformation challenge. Okay? Both of them require you to take off the sunglasses, and your life will be changed forever. And if you do, send me a testimonial on how you feel. So I love getting testimonials about people that I've helped take their sunglasses off or take their glasses off or just start going seeing sunrise. All right. So now there's a meme that I created. It's basically a picture of a sunrise. And it says, life exists and operates on a quantum scale. There are approximately 100,000 biological reactions every second in every cell. And we have trillions and trillions of cells. The electromagnetic force controls the protons and electrons inside your cells. So there are, and it's a big number. It is 8, hold on, let me count this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12 times 3. So that's 8 to the 36th power. Okay. So it's 8, 6, 8, 3, 3, 1, 7, 6, 1, 8, 8, 1, 1, 8, 8, 6, 4, 9, 5, 5, 1, 8, 1, 9, 4, 4, 0, 1, 2, 8, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. That is the number of different frequencies of light between 260 and 700 nanometers. So that is visible light. But light goes all the way up to 3,000 because we've got the red, infrared A, infrared B, infrared C, near infrared, all that stuff that we cannot see. Okay. So those different frequencies are programming our body, programming our skin, programming our eyes. And if you wear sunglasses, you are blocking that signal. And then henceforth, the body breaks down and whatnot. Okay, so those frequencies are basically the orchestra for our cells. So they are playing our song. And unfortunately, with sunglasses, there's no conductor. So it sounds like a bunch of toddlers playing or pounding on instruments or pots and pans. Okay, and eventually that drives you insane. All right. Reason number 4. All right, beta endorphins and POMC. Melanin cortin is what POMC stands for. That podcast I mentioned with Dr. Jack Cruz on tetragrammaton goes big time into POMC and also beta endorphins and also melanin. So I'm still learning about it, so I'm not going to talk too much into the science of it. But that's one thing that I always think that I believe that people should do. So the more you know about something, the more likely you are to stick with something. So if I tell you, just follow this diet, it's a good diet, and then most people fall off the wagon because they don't really know the why. They don't know the science of why they should continue to do it. But if you do know the science and you do know the why to do it, you are more likely to continue to do it. Okay? Rather than doing the same thing over and over again and getting the same results. So that is Einstein's definition of insanity, which you should not be insane. So it's modern day insanity. Obviously, you're not in a straitjacket and in a mental institute, but if you do the same thing over again, like keeping your sunglasses on when it's hurting you and it's weakening your eyes, then that's an issue. Okay. So people who follow Jack, they basically, Dr. Cruz, they like my ability to translate what he says into normal people speak. Okay. So I'll cover POMC and melanin in a future podcast, but it's a vital pathway. And guess what creates beta endorphins in POMC? Sunlight. Okay. Unblocked sunlight. So no sunglasses. Okay. Sunscreen is just a step below sunglasses, and that is a future episode of the unknown death causers. Okay. Beta endorphins is basically like an opioid-like substance that is created in us by the sun. It is basically nature's way of telling us we are supposed to be addicted to the sun. Okay. Not our phone, which is also a future episode of Unknown Death Causers. Okay? In my opinion, the phone is the biggest detriment to your health, bar none. Okay? Well, for most people. I mean, if you're a airline pilot, then you've got bigger issues than your phone. So the sun makes beta endorphins. It is Mother Nature's opioid. So she wants you to be addicted to her. And big tech wants you to be addicted to your phone. Okay? Because they make money off of that over and over and over again. Feeling good is super important. And thinking is a big deal. It is a lost art due to the ease that we have a distraction device in our pocket or purse 24/7. Okay, so I made a video talking about two of the biggest music stars ever. Okay, so George Michael and Michael Jackson. Both were known for their sunglasses, especially in the primes of their career, which was the 80s and early 90s. Beta endorphins are made from UVA light. Okay? And along with a host of other things that are made in UVA light, so you got melatonin, nitric oxide, POMC, which cleaves into 6 different things, dopamine, but sunrise is always the primer for that. Okay? UVA light is basically the stop sign for our sex steroid hormones. So testosterone, estrogen, pregnenolone, DHEA, and vitamin D is also one of those sex steroid hormones. Okay, remember, vitamin D is not a vitamin, it is a hormone. And the sunrise turns on those things, and UVA is basically the stop sign for it to stop the production or slow the production of certain ones down, and then start another circadian health type of thing, or circadian clock thing. Okay, so everything revolves around the sun, especially in those early morning hours. It is the most important time for our health. Okay, and how you tell UVA is out, there's 2 apps I recommend. I recommend the D Minder app. So DMinder app, once you put your information in there, get the premium one. I think it's $1.99 or $2.99. It'll basically tell you based on your latitude when the vitamin D is out. Okay, most people think when the sun is out, vitamin D is out. That is not true. It'll tell you how much vitamin D per minute you are making based on how much skin you have exposed. If you're wearing sunglasses, then that number is going to be skewed. But you listening to this, you should be taking your sunglasses off from this point on. Okay, and then the other one will be sun position demo. So I just use the free version, but it basically tells you the angle of inclination for the sun. So once the sun gets 10 degrees inclination or above, UVA light has come out. And then once the sun goes above 30 inclination, UVB has come out. And then on the back end of the day, once it gets under 30, UVB goes away. And then once it gets under 10, that is technically sunset. Okay, sunglasses block the UV light. Okay, so again, glasses and contacts, depending on your manufacturer, to the same or lesser extent as well. With glasses, obviously the sun can get in through the sides, over the top, under the bottom as well. So glasses are not as bad as sunglasses. Okay, but when you do block that UVA, you are blocking the ability to make beta endorphins. Again, contacts, thing of the past, because our cornea gets its oxygen from the atmosphere and it can't breathe. Oxygen tensions go down, causing a downward spiral. Obviously, it doesn't happen overnight, but over the course of decades, like cigarettes. So nobody dies after one cigarette. Okay? People can live up to 100 years smoking a pack a day. Okay? People can live 100 years wearing their sunglasses every single day. Okay? Does it mean they're living optimal? Okay? It's how do you want to live? Do you want to thrive, or do you want to suffer with modern man's stuff as you get older? And the stuff is going to get worse as you get older because of that heteroplasmy again. And the heteroplasmy, the respiratory proteins are stretching out, stretching out, stretching out. More bad things are happening. You're feeling worse, and you're trying to find unnatural things or conventional wisdom that we're told to do that actually hurts us in the long run. Okay, Mother Nature is the cure for modern man problems. All right, so eyeglasses. The fix is easy for these when you're outside. You basically just pull them down over your nose or just completely take them off. Also remember that myopia, nearsightedness, again, it is a disease, and like most diseases, they can be reversed or the symptoms can be greatly alleviated to a great extent. Okay, so I always say most diseases are reversible, but most people are not. And that is due to their cognitive dissonance, their mind block, their beliefs. Okay, somebody who is closed-minded is not going to be taking the sunglasses off. Okay, they're just going to continue on their path to destruction. Beta endorphins are basically a natural type of high. Okay, exercise will also release them as well. So when Michael Jackson and George Michael couldn't get that natural high, they had to turn to artificial things like pain or sleep pills, spending sprees, marijuana. Okay, all things that artificially raise dopamine as well. Okay, so beta endorphins or lack of them is one of the biggest reasons for the huge rise in suicides, especially among younger people. And the scariest part of that is kids under the age of 12. Okay, so at that age, I didn't even know what suicide was. And Basically, they're indoors all day long. They're connected to their phone, they're connected to their computer, they're connected to their television. I had a friend, I heard on a podcast, he was telling me that kids wear their AirPods in class. And then I asked one of my teacher friends, and she confirmed that, yeah, they do. Okay. AirPods will also be a future episode of unknown death causers. Okay. The average age in America a kid gets a phone is between 7 to 10 years old. Okay, but a lot of parents will use them as babysitters for even younger kids. The other day, I saw a teenage boy walking the dog of this one house. I've lived here 4.5 years now, and I've never seen that kid outside. I see the mom and dad and the dog all the time, but I never see that kid. And that happens all the time, where I finally find out inside there's an actual kid in there, or kids in there. Okay. I found out, I think it was sometime last year, I see these two kids, brother and sister. I see them out all the time, but I found out there's a third kid that I never see. He's a teenager. Okay. And that's the biggest problem, okay, is the teenagers. I did a blog post on video games, which is a huge problem and an addiction for both kids and adults. But it was sparked by a kid who was 12 years old, who basically hung himself over Fortnite. Okay, if you are a parent who has a video game addicted kid, or you yourself are addicted, or just even play occasionally, read my blog post. It will give you some tips on how to play and when to play. It's improvementwarriorfitness.com/video games. And I also just found out 80% of all suicides are basically boys or men. Okay? And one of the biggest reasons for this is because as boys and men, we are not taught to talk about our feelings or even express them. So holding them in until things break inside of us is not wise. It is not healthy. Stress is, I think it's number 10 on my 14 Pillars of Health webinar. Okay, I had thoughts of suicide for a few years, and I know keeping it inside was one of the big reasons. So women, girls, they talk about this kind of stuff basically weekly, sometimes daily, some of them probably hourly. But one of the other reasons I had those issues of depression, anxiety, thoughts of suicide basically weekly is I had no purpose whatsoever. I was drifting and drifting. I had no life goals. I just went to work. I ate basically 6-7 times a week, went to the gym, and then I would come home and I would watch Netflix for the rest of the night. And back then it was Netflix where you had the DVD and you put it in mail and they would mail you DVDs back. Okay. So a little off top or little rant there, but who else in the music world besides George Michael and Michael Jackson, any suicides, other suicides, any other drug overdoses, okay? Suicides among rock stars, Kurt Cobain, the Soundgarden guy, lead singer, the NXS lead singer, Linkin Park's frontman, Naomi Judd, just found that out. Drug-related or overdoses in the music industry, Janis Joplin, Elvis, Jim Morrison, Jimi Hendrix, Amy Winehouse, Whitney, Prince, on and on and on. Okay, and Prince and Jimmy also big sunglasses wearers, and I'm pretty sure Whitney was as well. Bono, U2's frontman, has glaucoma. Okay, and Bono is also known for his sunglasses. So glaucoma, one of the worst eye diseases you can get. Basically, it means you're going blind. So That's a progression of bad eyes. Okay, so again, I had thoughts of suicide, depression, and anxiety in my mid-20s. I herniated my disc in 2004, which also led to sciatica. But I basically pushed through the pain for nearly 3 years. And when the pain got too great to bear anymore, so I stopped working out, which was probably my only source of natural beta endorphins. And I lost 71 pounds in 6 months. And I lost the first 50 in the first 3 months. Rarely, if ever, did I go outside. So I worked collections, which only made my life more depressing. I couldn't work out for 9 months. And on a positive note, I did heal my back completely without drugs, doctors, or medical intervention. Because, I mean, who knows what would have happened if I got put on depression and anxiety drugs. So that's just one more thing that the sun makes in us that we need daily. So actually thinking back on it, when I did start working out again, I was doing at least 50% of my workouts outdoors, using sleds, kettlebells, playgrounds as my gym. Thanks to a trainer, Zach Evanesh, that I found on YouTube that trained athletes that way. He does have a podcast called the Strong Life Podcast. I highly recommend listening to that. I still listen to that one. That's a good one. That was back in 2007, and that was the year I started my business, and I basically found my purpose, at least my first purpose in life, to help people get better, to help them get strong, help them get fit, train athletes, and whatnot. So, yeah, basically, the weak human needs to leave, and the weak-eyed human needs to leave. Take the sunglasses off. I also found out one very important thing about sunglasses and indoor use. So artificial blue light is bad, okay? That's why I always block it when I'm indoors. I block it on my eyes, block it on my skin, okay? So I am bald. If you see me at night or inside artificial blue light, I will have a hat on. Again, future episode of Unknown Death Causers coming up. But at night, it's even worse, artificial light, because the pupil will dilate, so more blue light will crash into the fovea, and that will elongate the eye. When you wear sunglasses indoors, okay, the pupils dilate, allowing more blue light to enter the eye than without. Okay, remember, sunglasses do not block the visible light. Blue light is visible light. Okay, did Michael Jackson or George Michael ever wear their sunglasses indoors? Yep. Same with Bono, same with Prince. Okay, Michael wore them to the Grammys. George, in his documentary, said when he was around others, he virtually had them on, and that he also couldn't look people in the eye. Okay, and the celebrity I am trying to hope to save, who is sunglasses indoors all the time, is Donnie Wahlberg. So I'll be sending this to him. Hopefully he will listen. Okay, free coaching session, Donnie. Let's go. All right, last section here. And remember, this is going to be a multiple part on sunglasses and taking them off and why they're bad. Last one is dopamine. Okay, dopamine. You've probably heard of it before. So those who spend most of their lives in man-made light, blocking the sun, never make enough dopamine in their eye or their frontal lobes. Dopamine creation is always linked to melatonin creation. And when your melatonin level is destroyed, it opens the door to mitochondrial diseases. Why? Melatonin controls all aspect of mitochondrial DNA repair. And remember, we talked about the mitochondrial DNA, 37 genes it controls. 13 of those are for the respiratory proteins and electron chain transport. Okay, that is why sleep is regenerative. If your sleep sucks, you are not healthy and you are slowly dying. Okay, so I did a podcast going over 36 sleep tips with another part still to come. It's improvementwarriorfitness.com/IWP7, or on your app, you can just download episode number 7. Okay. Nobody makes the link for sleep back to AM light, but I put the most important frequencies of the sun as sunrise. Then again, when UVA light shows up, which is going to be angle of 10 degrees or more. Again, download that sun position demo and the DMinder app. And then the final third one is sunset. And this is when you are first starting with the sun. Obviously, if you are wearing sunglasses and you have been wearing sunglasses for a long time, you're probably going to have a low vitamin D level. Okay? Remember, the sun makes vitamin D. And I didn't go into supplements at all, but taking a vitamin D supplement is not the same as getting it from the sun. It is basically you going into the gym, watching me do a workout, and then you post on social media like, woo, what a workout. Okay? It's not the same. Remember, sulfated vitamin D is what we need. When you get it from a pill, it is not sulfated because it is not made. It doesn't go through the process of sulfate to cholesterol to sulfated cholesterol to sulfated vitamin D. Okay? So without AM sun, you cannot regenerate melatonin. I'm pausing for dramatic effect. I'll say it again. Without AM sun, you cannot regenerate melatonin. Okay? And if your body makes it, you are not designed to take it. So taking melatonin hurts your natural body's ability to make it. All right. So this is from Dr. Jack Kruse. These people, rock stars, also never make enough POMC in the eye or the brain. And as a result, they cannot make enough endogenous beta endorphin or endocannabinoids. Today, the modern human environment has radically changed the incident light source from the sun to man-made light. This is especially noticeable in many entertainment musician jobs who usually have them working at night under artificial light for decades at a time. It should be no shock that these people engage in drug use to get the dopamine surge from drugs that they are missing from the endogenous opioid beta endorphin or the endogenous endocannabinoid N-arca-medonyl-methylamine or anandamide. Okay, big words there. They wonder why, and I just shake my head in disbelief. It is obvious. We found out Robin Williams developed a video game addiction the year before he killed himself. Anyone ask any questions, could the two be linked? Nope. Blue light could never cause depression and low melatonin levels, could it? Yep, it could. In terrestrial species like humans, the most well-studied coupled cycles are circadian rhythms tied to incident light. Healthy humans with a strong redox potential demonstrate plasma concentrations of endocannabinoid, anandamide, and beta endorphin normally exhibit a specific circadian rhythm that follows AM sunlight exposure. What happens when these endogenous chemicals are missing? You cannot sleep, and you seek drugs to try to get the quick fix to sleep again. Think Carrie Fisher, Chris Cornell, Michael Jackson, Robin Williams, and Tiger Woods. And now Chester Bennington. The link and picture below yet again show you the telltale signs of what a low dopamine human looks like and how the process begins. It is not genetic. It is an environmental light disease that demolished their ability to regenerate and make the chemicals a human brain needs to work properly. Those biomolecules can only be made in full spectrum solar light. If we live a life that changes the spectral density of incident light via the eyes and or skin, that is all that it takes to start down the path. When the physics of your environment is changed, the physiology of your life is altered, and so is your life. People laugh about this causative link only because they are showing just how ignorant of the effect of light on biology really is. Here is another story in a long list to show you how quantum biology reality is right here and right now. How much longer are you going to remain ignorant of this science? Once again, it should be clear to the mitochondriac that nature has built us to be addicted to the sun because of beta endorphin. The endogenous opioid system makes us addicted to AM sun by releasing beta endorphin with anandamide during AM solar exposure. When you do not get the stimulus, you get the life of Bennington, Williams, Fisher, Jackson, Woods, and Cornell, and countless others. This is why the USA's opioid crisis is exploding. It's time we talk about it out loud and not bury it. Okay. So, in summary, take the freaking sunglasses off, strengthen your eyes with sun gazing at sunrise and sunset, and eventually build your life back to healthy. Okay, sunrise is supposed to be our morning cup of coffee. Okay, not an actual cup of coffee or Monster or Red Bull or Pop-Tarts or whatever. Okay, and sunrise and sunset have 0 UV, so you can look directly at it. However, if your eyes are so weak when you first start, okay, and you cannot look directly at the sun, so you're blinking a lot, you're tearing up, okay, look off to the side. Okay, we don't want to be squinting either. Okay, if you're squinting, just keep looking off to the side. You might have to be completely turned around away from the sun and looking at the sky to have this happen. Okay, but we are building it back, and we're building it back slowly. Okay, but so I mean, people who go out, they avoid the sun all winter long, and then they take a vacation down to Florida or Mexico or someplace like that, and basically they go to the beach and then they get burnt, and they wonder why they get burnt, because they don't have a solar callus built up. Okay, so think of the sunrise as basically a warm-up. Okay, so it's a warm-up for, like, a warm-up during your workout, and then UVA is you're starting your work sets, so you're working the weight up to eventually your heaviest set. Okay, and then the heaviest set is the midday sun, when UVB is strongest and you're making the most vitamin D. Okay, but you're not going to be able to make it if you skip the sunrise and if you skip UVA. Okay, so that's when bad things can happen. All right, burning and all that stuff. Okay, but that's for part 2 and all that stuff. Okay, so there'll be a lot more coming up. But thank you for watching the webinar and the podcast. And again, for the podcast, we're looking for the ratings, always looking for them. So Apple, Spotify, wherever you can rate and comment and all that stuff. Always looking for 5 stars, but please be honest. I try to put the best information out there to help change your life. And hopefully you're going to do something to change your life with this information. If you know somebody who wears sunglasses, please share this episode with them, because it is life-changing. I used to wear sunglasses all the time, and my health sucked. Obviously, I had depression, I had anxiety, thoughts of suicide. That shouldn't happen, okay? All right, but several things that you can do to work closer with me. I have a total circadian health reset coming up. Depending on when you hear this and all that, I always have a pre-launch list, because I launch it several times throughout the year. It's a one-on-one program, but I work very, very closely with you to change your overall total health. Okay. You can go to improvementwarriorfitness.com/pre-launch for that. And I did mention my 2 challenges that can help you take the sunglasses off and teaches you everything and all that stuff, how to do it, when to do it, all that stuff. So the 32-day circadian rhythm challenge, improvementwarriorfitness.com/CRT. So that's C as in circadian, R as in rhythm, and T as in transformation. And then the 34-day light challenge, improvementwarriorfitness.com/light challenge. Okay. But that's it. I will open it up here for questions and answers. Andrew, Sandra, do you guys have any questions? Just go ahead and unmute and ask your question if you have one. Okay. All right. So no questions. So that's it. Again, thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. I will check you on another podcast, webinar, video, somewhere. But otherwise, have a great day and night. Sleep well. Stay strong. Stay positive. Be the improvement warrior.
Are we clear?
We are always looking for ratings for the podcast. It helps my podcast be found by others looking to improve their life and health, as well as it helps us get ranked higher. So please help us out so that I may continue bringing this life-changing podcast to you and others around the world. Just go to the leave a review section of your favorite podcast listening app and let us know what you think. 5 stars is preferred, but please be honest. Thank you in advance.